We're about to make a name for ourselves over here. Oh, there's already groaners in the room here. Yeah, you guys are in for a fun time tonight. Then welcome back to Spoiler City. I know to the viewers it's been a long freaking time since I've done one of these, but look at this beautiful panel that we've assembled here. Like literally, it's awesome. Like we have Jacob Hubbard coming back, of course. How you doing, my friend?
You trying to get her demonetized?
Only if you
play 5 seconds. Only if you play 5 seconds. Only 5 seconds. Only
there
5
we
seconds.
go.
Only 5 seconds.
Hell yeah. Well, we will talk about that. How do I even segue into Goldborn after that one? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I don't want to say bye. I'm having a good time.
You don't want to say bye. Well, first time ever on this channel, Sully Streams. So happy to finally have him on one of these with me. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, thanks for having me, dude. Very excited. Don't know why Jacob started off with that. He knew he was going to be the top intro. You know what I mean? But very excited to be here.
You know,
I planned it out this whole time while you're talking. I was like, all right, let me put on Spotify. Let me get to the lyric. I was like, all right, let me play it. All right, let me not put it close to the mic. Dude, I had it planned out the whole time.
It sounded good.
Okay, good.
It did. We got good audio out of that for sure. Yeah. And I'm sure you, like if the powers that be at YouTube saw the little clip over there and they were like, oh, we're gonna report that to Justin Timberlake right now. But
oh my god,
hey,
immediately.
I knew good. 5 seconds. 5 seconds.
Hey, 5 seconds. Yeah, I love it. So many Zacks in the room. So many lovely people in the chat as well. I see you, Carlos. I see you, View with Drew. I see you, Luke. What is up, everybody? Ethan as well. Welcome to Spoiler City. Deadpool and Wolverine has been out for a couple of weeks now. It has just crossed the $1 billion barrier, my friends. Billion with a capital B. I'll just go around the room here. Like, just throw up the fingers. How many times have y'all seen it? Just one time? Just one time? You've seen it 3? Oh, I saw it 3 times as well. Like, I can't help myself. Can't help myself with this one. I don't know about you fellas, but this is my favorite movie of the year so far, and I can't wait to talk about it with you guys. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit that thumbs up as well. Let's just get right into it. You know how a spoiler stream works, my friends. Heavy spoilers ahead. So if some of you in the chat have not seen Deadpool and Wolverine yet, what the heck are you doing here? First of all, go to the theater, go give Marvel Studios your money, and then come right back. So with that in mind, I mean, Jacob, I'll just let you start with this one.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that was a perfect segue. You talked about it. Yeah, you literally played the music. That was the song in the opening sequence of Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah. It felt like a concert. What did you think of it?
It was awesome. I after seeing it for multiple times now, I can proudly say I think it's my favorite opening to a Marvel movie. I think so. I love how the movie starts and he's narrating and he literally says, he says, I know what you're thinking. How are we gonna give respect to Logan and everything? And then the next shot is really him digging him up and then smacking his body. And then he's got dead Logan next to him. And dude, it's just like such a perfect like opening with the music, the blood. It's like, hey, first R-rated Disney Marvel movie. Here you go. Like, this is it. And so, like, it's a perfect, like, tone setter, in my opinion. And yes, the song is literally, like, beat to beat by him stabbing people. It's like, it's just so much fun. It probably is my favorite scene in the movie, which I know is the opening, but, like, it's really good.
It is so much fun. I was seeing memes all over Twitter that were comparing this to the I'm Just Ken sequence from last summer. And then they were like, that's how this summer is going with Deadpool just dancing around to NSYNC. And it just made me so happy. Sully, I don't know about you, but that sequence is as Deadpool gets.
Yeah, I'd say you're probably right. I think it kicks it off with a bang in the sense of how anyone that was sitting in the theater, myself included a little bit, that was worried that maybe now being under the MCU banner, it would be watered down a bit. It quickly threw all of that away. All of those concerns were gone right from the first, 5 minutes of the film. It's kind of one of those sequences that more than anything, it's kind of addicting like anytime I'm scrolling by on Twitter and someone posts like a snippet of it, I'm watching it.
Oh yeah.
So I think it was like a great way to start the movie. It definitely a memorable one.
Yes, yeah. Zach, I mean, this is the first MCU R-rated project, and did this live up to your expectations of what an MCU R-rated movie would look like?
Yeah. All the cursing, all the naughtiness, all the blood, all the gore, everything that you would want for them to show right away. And that opening, as you guys talked about it, had all of that. Like we had like the simulated sex thing with the two soldiers, and it's like you could just like, whoa, you don't expect all that in a Disney film. And like in my theater, like right after that scene happened, a family of 4 walked out to go complain about it. And I was like, why are you here?
I mean, like they should have just read the NPAA rating. It's R for strong, like strong suggestive dialogue, which again, this script is genius. And before he just starts beating everybody up, one of my favorite lines in the movie, 206 bones in the human body, 207 if I'm watching Gossip Girl.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's about as Deadpool of a line as you can get. And then Wolverine claws right at the end of the song. He's just thrusting them out. So freaking badass. And that reaction, Ryan Reynolds, so awesome in this movie. So, with that in mind, we segue into one of the key themes of this, feeling like Deadpool needs to belong somewhere because Vanessa has dumped him by this point. So he needs to prove his worth and he wants to be an Avenger. So he's face to face with Happy Hogan, Sully. What did you think when you saw Happy Hogan pop up?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting seeing that because that's really the first time we're seeing. I mean, it's interesting that they chose for Happy Hogan to be the first kind of MCU character he was going to interact with. I think it made sense. I definitely wasn't expecting it when I first saw the movie. But I think Favreau does end up playing that role pretty well. So if he's going to interact with someone, it kind of does make sense to be the guy that kind of is trying to keep things in check and bring some of Tony Stark's legacy to whatever holds for the Avengers in the future of the MCU. I think it was definitely a welcome surprise seeing that, especially after I love kind of whenever Happy pops up in a Spider-Man movie and kind of helps usher him into the MCU or into the Avengers kind of. So it's funny now that they chose to do that with the most like R-rated nasty character possible as well.
Yeah, I was very happy to see him and the whole exchange that they have. Zach, I know they were talking about the Hulk cans and smasturbating in the the bathroom before the meeting actually started. I mean, just a brilliant exchange, wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like he wanted to have him there because other than him being Happy, he is the godfather of the MCU. He directed the first film, directed one of the most important films. Every film from Iron Man 1 kind of takes from how that is structured and the jokes, everything, and just moves on with it. So it kind of makes sense when you're introducing someone important into the MCU. He's the one that's like there ushering them in because he did that. So I thought the interaction between the two was brilliant. It just shows how you can have Deadpool like interact with someone, and it wasn't a PG-13 scene, but if you take the smash debating out, he can do all those things the same when he gets into an Avengers film, or if they do Deadpool and Spider-Man and that end up being PG-13, you could have that interaction just like that and still be funny.
Yeah, well, and I mean, like, putting Once Upon a Deadpool aside, like I've just been seeing like Deadpool making his debut at the Disney theme parks, and he has to be watered down. He's PG-13. He's carrying chimichangas in his holsters instead of guns and firearms. And even still, they're capturing the spirit of what Deadpool even is. So I'm very hopeful for the future of this character. Say hello to Ronan in the chat, by the way. He did bring up a interesting point here, Jacob, and I'll bring this to you. The reports are saying that this was supposed to be RDJ instead of Jon Favreau, but he had just been casted as Doomsday, or Dr. Doom in this case, rather. Were you at all disappointed that this wasn't RDJ and this was Happy Hogan instead?
Listen, me and you had a small text message about the situation with Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom. So take that away. If it was Tony Stark, I think I don't know. I think I agree with Zack Attack. I think it was a good segue just to bring Happy in. Like Happy's not like a huge fan favorite. It's Jon Favreau as the assistant since Iron Man 1. So I'm actually okay it not being Tony. Hell, I actually like how when they show the photo, they show Tony, but they have the helmet in front of Spider-Man. I like that.
Yes.
I'm fine with that. I'm totally cool with that. So I'm okay with Robert Downey Jr. I will admit though, if it was him, it would have been a little weird because the same day the movie got released, Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom. So it would have been like a whoa. So you know what? I'm totally fine with Happy. I like Jon Favreau. It's always cool for him to get a chance to be in a Marvel movie. So I'm fine with it.
And I agree with you on that. And plus, I mean, you have Deadpool calling him Avengers adjacent, and he's basically ridiculing the fact that he does not have superpowers. In addition, basically claiming that his superpower is parallel parking,
which was great.
I can comfortably say is indeed a superpower because I'm not comfortable doing that at all. But
not easy.
So basically, that's setting up the theme of this movie, right? Deadpool wants to feel like he belongs. He wants to be an Avenger. He cuts away. He's riding home with Peter. He's a car salesman, a used car salesman. Lots of funny lines with the kids in there as well.
Yes.
Jacob's already laughing at it. You know, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I mean, first off, it's so okay. Seeing him have the hairpiece on and being a car salesman, that's such a funny, like, oh, of course Wade Wilson would do that and not be
stapling the toupee on his bald head too.
And when he's in that car, like when he's getting ready, he's like, let's go sell some. We can curse, right? This is a spoiler.
Of course.
Okay, we can go sell some fucking cars. And then it pops up with him in the back seat like this. And he's like talking about, he's like, I would like to have vaginal sex, something like that. And he's like looking at the kid. I'm like,
yeah. And then the mother is questioning him about like what are the capabilities of the Honda Odyssey, which we will talk about, I'm sure, later on. But he's like, well, I'll tell you, it doesn't fucking suck.
I love the shots of the cars in the movie. Like the whole movie, he's hitting at cars. I'm like, that's so random, but good.
He's clearly not meant to be a salesman though either, because Sully, like, he's being honest with the customers. You know, salesmen always try to hammer it down your throats if you're trying to buy a car, right? It's crazy.
Yeah, I coming from a guy that I have a sales background, he's clearly not made for that line of work.
No,
but I think it definitely sets up like an interesting theme though, because I was watching. I don't know if you guys ever watched like Happy, Sad, Confused, that podcast with Josh Horowitz or anything, but he had Sean Levy on there and kind of talking about the balance of like Deadpool as a character not really fitting in anywhere, and that's somehow what makes him work. Like he doesn't really fit in a PG-13 movie. He doesn't really fit into the Avengers. Him not fitting in is always like the communal aspect that makes him work as a character. Yeah. So it makes sense. It makes sense, like setting him up in this scenario where he tried to go to an everyday life and he doesn't even really fit into that scenario either. So I think it was a good kind of way to show that he was like fed up with his normal life and had to find some excuse to get back into the red suit.
Yeah, and honestly, that's a really good point because, like, thinking about it more and more, if I were to nitpick one little thing about it for right now, we've seen the trope of the superhero retired, so to speak,
hanging up the cape,
hanging up the suit, just having it in the locker. Peter's trying to convince him to put it back on, and he's like, "I'm done." I'm like, I've seen this story done so many times before, but I think it works. I think it works with what we got here. So it cuts away. It's Wade's birthday party, and it's all of his loved ones in the same room. Blind Al is talking about how she wants to do cocaine, but Feige won't allow it.
That was great.
If there's one thing that kind of disappointed me about this movie, again, the more I think about it, I wish we got more of Dopinder. I wish we got more of Colossus. But again, with what we got, like, freaking amazing. Freaking amazing. We'll get into it. So then we get the TVA coming into the picture. And Ryan Reynolds, Zack, he thinks they're strippers. He thinks Dopinder sent these strippers.
Look, if Deadpool is going to interact with any kind of strippers, it would be strippers with armor. because he's about to do some wild stuff to them. So it kind of made sense why he thought that these were going to be strippers. Deadpool doesn't take anything seriously. He knows he can't die, really. So I found all that funny. And he wouldn't know anything about the TVA, right? It's out of his purview. So I thought that whole back and forth was just hammering it to the audience for those first 20 minutes. This is an R-rated MCU film, and we have your PG-13 TV show characters in here, and I'm talking about pegging to them. Like, yeah. And you know what I mean? Like, you know, Disney doesn't know about it, but I do. Like, so I really enjoyed that scene. You know, that scene was in like every trailer, and it still hit when I watched the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. And I'm glad that this like expanded the idea of the TVA almost as like this big gigantic corporate conglomerate that's kind of overseeing everything that's going on within all these universes. And I'm glad we got to see more of that we didn't see in the Loki TV show. First, like, again, the introduction of Mr. Paradox, another British villain. He basically is explaining the whole concept of you're going to enter the sacred timeline. And you finally get the look that you saw in the trailer of him saluting Chris Evans as Captain America. And this random sequence of Thor holding Deadpool in his arms and Thor is crying. Jacob, what do you think he was crying about?
I'm just going to call it right now. That scene somehow will come back in Secret Wars or whatever.
You think?
I have to pay it off somehow. It's such a running joke in this movie that like I just totally see in Secret Wars Deadpool getting smacked and hitting the ground, like Thor like grabbing him, and he's like, I could see the scene now of him like, this is the moment, or like just something. I can see it. I like that joke. I like the joke. Some people were like, oh, so Chris Hemsworth is in the movie, because there was people talking about before the movie. It's like, is Thor going to be in the movie?
Barely.
He's barely in the movie, but he's in there a little bit. But I found the whole TV. I'll give credit to the TVA because they did a really good job explaining the TVA for people who haven't seen Loki. Like if like no one who's seen the TV, like I brought like my special female friend to this movie, and she literally has not seen any of the old Marvel movies. She's seen the new Marvel movie, the Marvel universe, but not like the old ones. And so she didn't see Loki. And so for that stuff, I was like, yeah, they've been introduced for the past couple of years. And she was like, oh, are they like the bad guys? I was like, well, so that was the one thing the movie kind of picture. They're like, is the TVA a bad guy? Just this section of the TVA is. But I think the movie did a really good job introducing the TVA.
Yeah, no, the TVA is, again, like set up to be this big corporate monster that's overseeing everything, even though low-key is kind of the new He Who Remains per the end of the season 2. This is such a ridiculous comment, Roden. What if they flip it? Deadpool is crying while holding Thor in Secret Wars.
That would work.
Could happen.
I'll say
there's a rumor that they're gonna do Deadpool and Thor before Secret Wars. So if they build a relationship, I can see that happening in Secret Wars.
Yeah, I could see him popping up in Thor 5 because I think Thor 5 is confirmed, Sully. I don't know, like I've been hearing that, but no confirmation.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. This is probably, I wouldn't say it's an unpopular opinion, but I think Thor's got a little winning me over to do again after the last movie. I'm not big on Love and Thunder, which stinks because like Ragnarok's in like, I think I have it as my number 7 MCU movie. I absolutely love Ragnarok. And it's crazy. It's kind of just like going in a pattern in the sense that the first 2 Thor movies came out. He might have been the main MCU character that I cared about the least. Then Ragnarok came out. I was absolutely obsessed with Thor after that. I thought they did a great job. Then Love and Thunder took the wind out of my sails with him again. So it's been a little bit of a roller coaster ride, but I do think if they kind of establish some relationship, I don't think Thor is someone they would give an R-rated movie to, but I do think that Hemsworth showing how good he is comedically, I think that there would be a lot of R-rated content that could be explored and that they would both want to explore with Ryan Reynolds and Hemsworth in these 2 roles. So I think it could be a cool relationship, especially seeing as they've kind of established Thor more and more as the goofiest of the main MCU heroes. It could probably play off pretty well. rather than when you see the dynamic of with Wolverine in this one, where he's kind of trying to tone down Deadpool. I could actually see Thor like kind of gassing him up. Like he'd be cool with whatever he brought to the table, I feel like.
I'm with you there. And like honestly, Thor being in an R-rated movie at this point isn't really too far-fetched in my opinion, because I never thought I would get an R-rated movie in the MCU. Like, it's surreal that we're even talking about this, gentlemen. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But a Deadpool and Thor team up, I think, would be awesome. It's funny you bring up Wolverine as well, Sully, because this whole sequence and Deadpool getting a new suit as well, notwithstanding the Predator Taylor with him as well, which I laughed at. The suit looks very clean. I will tell you that.
Yeah.
They introduced the concept of anchor beings, which I feel like is going to be extremely important going forward. And Mr. Paradox talks about how Deadpool is not the anchor being in the X-Men universe that is slowly withering away. That would be Hugh Jackman instead as Logan. And I was so happy that they did not retcon that emotional ending to Logan and his journey. It was, and I didn't know how they were going to actually conduct Hugh Jackman's return into the MCU, but Zack, it's crazy how they did it. And I think it's honestly genius.
Yeah, bringing in a variant of the character who's kind of in a similar position as a Logan that passed away, but younger. So he's like leading towards that path. He's a drunk. The X-Men are gone, and he feels responsible. A lot of the similar stuff that happened with Logan, but feels like what they're doing here is like, what if Logan had Deadpool to save him? Kind of situation. And I just love the dynamic between Wolverine and Deadpool in the comics, and I think they captured that dynamic perfectly. Wolverine playing the straight man in this film while Deadpool just annoying the shit out of him the whole time was just perfection, and their chemistry is amazing. I actually said in my review, I was like, is this the first time they're in a movie together? And I never watched X-Men Origins, so I forgot that Deadpool was in that movie, but they didn't really interact in that movie, so I was just like, whatever. This was their first interaction in a movie, really, and I want more.
I wish I could forget that movie existed and that Deadpool existed in that one. You never so shut the mouth of the mark with the mouth. Never again. Don't do that. So I'm glad that Ryan Reynolds, he took this character in the right direction, and I'm glad that the producers have learned their lesson. But Jacob, I know that you are the biggest Back to the Future fan. Huey Lewis in the news popping up during this montage of him going through all the Wolverine variants to try and find the right one to replace the anchor being. Like, take me through your thought process as you were watching this, because there were so many different Wolverines that we came across.
So the first time I saw the movie, it was at an early screening, and that crowd was fun, but it wasn't as fun as the audience, like regular screening I went to on a Thursday in IMAX, because when comic book accurate Hugh Jackman showed up, my crowd lost it. And when he was like, "Oh, little Wolvie," and he jumps off the stool and he walks, I'm like, because that's technically, if you look at the movie, that's the first time you see Hugh Jackman. So the first time you see him is comic book accurate. And that to me proves, I'm like, y'all have been yelling about, we want 5'8" Wolverine. No, you don't. Because you get that.
First of all, that's definitely not 5'8".
That was like 3'8".
That's like 3'8". He's like 4'8". Listen, that was not taller than me.
I'm 5'10", so I'm probably smaller than all of you. So shut up, okay?
No, I'm in the 5'10" gang. Don't worry.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm like in the
on a good day. On a good day.
I'm in the 6-even range, so we're all good here.
But I like the Wolverine. Obviously, yes, Huey Lewis in the news. It was perfect because it's like he's going back in time and everything, or he's going through different portals, whatever. And seeing just all the different Wolverines. And that's the thing I mentioned in my review without spoiling it. I said there are stuff in this movie that is comic book stuff that I don't even get. So like, I didn't understand the reference of him being hung up like on a cross. Apparently that's a famous image of Wolverine. I didn't know that. Him fighting the Hulk, I knew that was a thing. I didn't think we would see it. And I know we didn't technically see it, but like,
not a lot.
Can happen. Not a lot. It's gonna happen, I assume, if they move forward. I feel like we're gonna get somehow. But Old Man Logan remind me of remind me of the new video game they're making. Like it looked like the old man. So like I liked it. I thought it was a really, really fun way to like show the different variations of Wolverine out there. And then yeah, he hops on to the yellow suit one, which took him 2 decades as he yells.
Well, don't. Yeah, that only took 20 fucking years. In his words. Well, I mean, we can't forget one of the most important cameos in this one, which yeah, Sully, what were your thoughts when you saw Henry Cavill pop up, just juicing up his motorcycle?
I mean, I loved it. I think this movie, I wonder how many like lines and iterations they have in a script like this, because one of this movie and kind of all the Deadpool movies' strengths is that they're so on the nose and so topical at the exact time that they come out. Like that Henry Cavill stuff and kind of getting screwed over by DC, like that's still fresh enough of a situation that if that came out a year from now, after he had some MCU role, after he was in his Warhammer show, he's still booked and busy, all that kind of stuff. Like who knows if that joke would have been as effective or the cameo as a whole. And I mean, he's been a popular fan cast regardless. If you wanted to go for tall, beefy Wolverine again, you know, I still think Radcliffe would do a great job at it.
Oh God,
shot. But I think the Henry Cavill cameo was like the icing on the cake of a montage that already seemed, for like comic book fans, couldn't really get much better. I did hear though, one thing that they wanted to do that they thought of too late that they didn't get to do is they wanted Deadpool to encounter an actual Wolverine, like the animal, and he was going to get like mauled by it. Like at one point,
I was waiting for that.
CGI'd a little mask on him or something. Yeah,
I was waiting for that to happen. Honestly, thought that was going to happen. And
but I thought the Cavill cameo was great.
Yeah, the movie was already pushing over 2 hours too, so I'm sure Wade Wilson wouldn't want to beef up the runtime any more than it already was, which I'm sure we'll talk about when we get to that. So he basically brings what's up to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that thumbs up as well. Look at Darkroom Reviews with a 149 super sticker. I love that. Thank you so much, my friend. Ronan also says, "Welcome to MCU. You're joining at a bit of a low point." Which is said directly to Hugh Jackman as he's waking up, and he's probably going to be playing this character till he's 90. So we'll see how that goes. Like, I don't want to recast Hugh Jackman. I really, really don't. I don't know about you guys. Just going across the room, like Zack, like there's nobody else I could step into his shoes. I really don't think so.
I'm not 100% bored with that. I think that he needs to be Wolverine up until Secret Wars, and then after that happens, let's get Fresh Mutants. I don't really want to see the X-Men 90. I mean, not 90. I'm gonna say 97. I would love to see X-Men 97 crossover, but like, I wouldn't like to see the live action Storm and all these characters continue into their 60s, 70s. That's too much. Let's get some fresh new people that can anchor down the MCU that we can get invested in. And yeah, Daniel Radcliffe, man, let's get him in there.
I was thinking Taron Egerton over Daniel Radcliffe.
I would take that too.
I'll take that too. He's great.
No, I'd be fine with either one. I saw fan castings of Scott Eastwood as well.
I was just about to say that. Yes,
honestly, like Jacob mentioned, Old Man Logan as a variant there. I was thinking, I saw him. I was like, he kind of looks like Clint Eastwood in a way, like just
or Henry Cavill.
Sitting on the porch, like Henry Cavill, he could do it. Yeah, but I feel like that's a more like Hugh Jackman style casting choice. They might want to go completely different. Like
we should go the opposite direction. So it's like they give us one movie in the future with Clint Eastwood, 100-year-old man.
Oh my God.
This is magnum opus.
Oh man. God. Yeah, it reminded me of Gran Torino in a sense where, just Clint Eastwood sitting on his porch. Yeah.
Sitting on his porch.
Yeah. Wild. So so basically Paradox is laughing off this variant of Wolverine and saying, this is the worst Wolverine. I would have accepted any other variant. Deadpool gets up in his face, and both of them are sent down into the void, where all of the really bad comic book, like not all the really bad comic book movie actors and pieces have gone into. It's like the trash heap.
It's like the Forgotten.
Forgotten, exactly. So they have their fight finally, and I was getting so juiced up hearing Hell's Bells. This soundtrack, Sully, I can't get over it. It was so awesome. Might be my favorite soundtrack in an MCU movie.
There's a lot of good tracks in this one. A lot of good needle drops. I will say, when it comes to favorite scores, I still have, I give it a play every once in a while. I also have that first volume of the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack on vinyl. So that's
volume one.
absolute. That's a killer. Yeah, volume one is an absolutely killer soundtrack. But there are some very memorable needle drops in this. They really hit a lot of the nostalgia points, especially with the NSYNC and the Madonna. But the Hell's Bells, I feel like, fit perfectly for this showdown that clearly everybody was waiting for. We knew that just had to set the stage and get to it. And when it was finally there and it starts playing that AC/DC song, you knew shit was going to go down. And they didn't disappoint on that. I think that was the most feral and animalistic we've seen Hugh Jackman as the character. Kind of like how he's marching towards Deadpool on all fours gave me everything I could have wanted out of that sequence.
Yeah, man, that fight between them and Sean Levy's direction of the fights, I think he had a really good handle on it. And Sean Levy's been around for a long time as a director. I don't think a lot of people are aware of that. He directed the Night of the Museum movies. Yeah.
No.
Jacob's with me. That was my childhood.
I agree with you, but you said something in the video that pissed me off, sir.
Oh no!
You said
Here we go.
Cheaper by the Dozen is a crap movie.
It
No,
is.
it is not.
It is.
That is a great family movie. Sean
On
Levy.
what planet?
Me. I love those first two. Cheaper by the Dozen
my
are
planet.
good. They're good.
He's been waiting to say this.
They are good, though.
Accepted the invite to be on
Yeah.
this tonight.
He did.
He was waiting
This
for
is
it to
why.
come up.
That movie, Cheaper by the
Here
Dozen
we go.
1 and 2 is such a my mom and me's movie. We watched that movie. The first two, I can't. I will not take slander from Cheaper by the Dozen. Sean
Fair
Levy,
enough.
thank you.
Teach their
All
own.
right, this
Teach their own.
is now a Cheaper by the Dozen spoiler city stream.
Yes. Where was Steve
I
Martin?
mean, I'll address this. I liked it as a kid, but I definitely recognize that it's not a very good movie objectively. But I mean, I still have some fun with it every now and then. If it's on TV, if it's on HBO or something, I'll pop it on in the background while I'm doing chores. Why not? But yeah, gotta say what's up to Zach Milne Talks Movies in the chat as well. Go hit that subscribe button for him as well. Hit that subscribe button for all these lovely people that you see on screen right now. But he mentioned it in the comments, while they're in the void and after they finish their fight, after Hugh Jackman spits out all the bullets that Deadpool shot into him, after, he's got both katanas inside of him and a baby knife in his shoulder, then we get Chris freaking Evans. And the superhero landing notwithstanding, he's looking around, he takes the hood off, and my theater went berserk. And I was like, what is going on here? What is Cap doing in the void? And Jacob, just take me through your thought process when you saw this.
Okay, so again, I'm going to go through my experience with the second experience because I was with my friends and my special lady friend who hasn't seen.
Hell yeah.
She hasn't seen Fantastic Four. So when he popped up, she was like, is Captain America back? I was like, and okay, so for me, I don't know about you guys, I knew instantly. I was like, he's gonna be Johnny.
Yes,
I knew he was gonna be Johnny. Him wearing the tarp, I was like, yeah, he's hiding his thing. I instantly knew it. I was like, if he would have shown up as Cap, he would have had a shield on, he would have had something on, but he was hidden with the broken, ripped up shirt. I was like, they're hiding the blue suit.
They're hiding the floor on his chest.
But,
because I'll be honest, I was fooled. I was like, hold on. Wait, what are they doing here? And the thought of Johnny Storm was in the back of my mind because I knew his history before he ever played Cap. I was like, there's no way they could do that. But they got the opportunity, and he says the quote that Milne put in the chat right there, flame on. It's probably one of my favorite bait and switches ever executed in a movie. It is so funny. And
my crowd lost it.
The fact that he failed at taking down the Mad Max people was just... And again, Sully, Mad Max, the void really does feel like the wasteland, doesn't it? Loved it.
Yeah. And one last thing I want to say about the Chris Evans being Johnny Storm, his involvement at all. The reason I think I saw it coming was he's the only person on the planet that has this unique situation of playing this Fox era character and then being such an integral part of the MCU going forward that I think it would have been a waste, honestly. And Cap is my favorite MCU character. But I think it would be a waste to have him come back as Cap. Like, it is just such a unique situation that he is the only guy that has where he could have come back as like a different character you weren't expecting. Also playing into Deadpool's love for Captain America in general and kind of doing the bait and switch there. I think it worked really well. But yeah, no, I mean, this whole Void situation it plays for a lot of good comedy and action because they basically just have like an open canvas playground that they can kind of do whatever the hell they want with. They almost found like this weird little pocket that doesn't have anything to do with the MCU that was established already, that they can just do whatever they want down there. And I think that they kind of make the most use of that.
Yeah. And again, like, even though his performance, spoiler alert, was very like limited in this one, like in terms of screen time, Chris Evans was still damn good. And him and Ryan Reynolds have a pretty deep connection. They are very close friends in real life. I read up that he actually texted Chris Evans and was like, "Hey, we're friends, right? I have an idea." And Chris Evans was all on board with it. And the post-credit sequence, I don't know if we want to talk about it now, but the whole gaslighting thing of Deadpool getting Johnny Storm killed by Cassandra Nova, which, the villain of this movie is Charles Xavier's twin sister, played by Emma Corrin, who is awesome in this. Deadpool is basically tattling on Johnny Storm, saying all these really nasty things about Cassandra, and then Cassandra zaps the skin off of him, he crumbles to the floor, and wasn't expecting that to be his demise. That's for sure. I knew it was going to be like, probably, I saw him as Johnny Storm and I knew he was going down for sure. It wasn't going to be a very, very beefy run for him, but didn't think it was going to go down this way. But then he says something that I can't help but think about. Do you know what he was doing to the budget? What's up, Jacob?
I want to say something, and this is gonna be one of those. If someone out there is watching, they're getting their pitchforks ready. I gotta say this. I do really enjoy them killing Johnny. I gotta admit though, when they pulled the skin off, the CGI skeleton looked bad.
Yeah,
it looked bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know how everyone's like, oh, they're always nitpicking Marvel, and I just that took me out of the movie. Like his face, I was like, oh my god, and then it collapsed. Like, okay, well, at least it was only like 2 seconds. It was still funny, but I had to at least say, I was like, yeah,
fair enough.
Don't come at me, Marvel fans. I'm sorry. It's one critique. We're allowed. I gave the movie a B+. It's not a perfect movie. Damn it.
Fair enough. Yeah. No, how I just want to go around the group here and just get an over-under estimate. How much do you think Chris Evans put a dent in this budget? I'll start with Sully. How much do you think he was paid to do this?
It's really tough because I do think there are a lot of scenarios like this, and when you're making a cameo film, kind of as this one is, there is somewhat of like a favor system. Like, we know that these guys have cameoed in each other's movies for a little bit. I mean, obviously and with the same director, most notably in Free Guy, getting the Chris Evans Captain America kind of adjacent cameo in that. And this was a lot meatier of a role compared to Free Guy. Obviously, that was just like a 6-second shock value kind of reaction.
Yeah.
I would say if it wasn't agreed upon that it was like in good faith done for free because Ryan Reynolds would cameo in a future Chris Evans project, I would say he definitely still made more for that like 15 minutes of the movie than I'll make in the next like 10 years. I'll put it at that.
Oh man. Oh man. Yeah. Jovan, gotta say what's up in the chat. He estimates 10 mil. Do you think that's fair, Zach?
Yeah, I think that's very, very fair. To me, for Chris Evans, who's like one of the fathers of the MCU, plus, like Sully said, he has the unique thing of he's played a Fox character, and he's also so important to the MCU. And also, he said, I don't want to return to doing this universe thing unless it's something cool and important. And I think that's why I never thought it was going to be Captain America. But for him to get to do Johnny Storm again, I could see him like, you know what? You don't got to give me a 30 million. But slide me down like 8 to 10. I got you.
8 to 10. Yeah. Does that sound fair, Jacob?
I'm going to be honest. I honestly think he probably did it for like maybe 4 to 5 million, because I think the hardest thing for him is because like he had to come in, they had to get a suit, so they measure him out. He had to come onto set, so they had to fly him out and everything. So, and I would say he probably did maybe like a week's worth of shooting, maybe honestly, because like I honestly think maybe 4 to 5 million. If it's honestly more than 15 million, I think that's way. I agree with Deadpool. I was like, if he's getting paid more than 15 million to do this, I'm like, dude, what?
A little ridiculous.
I mean, listen, ridiculous. we just got told that. You know what? We just got told that Rod Downey Jr. is getting 80 million for Doctor Doom. So
which
honestly, who knows? Honestly, who knows? Chris Evans might have gotten 15 million, but I think
to back up Jacob's points too, like I saw somewhere that they said Chris Evans nailed that entire insult-ridden final scene on the second take. So if he was just doing all that so quickly, then he definitely didn't spend much time on set at all.
Could have been 2 days, honestly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That post-credit sequence, might as well just talk about it right now since we're on the subject. Like, I just couldn't help but laugh at it. And I couldn't help but also hear Chris Evans had a bit of his Boston accent peeking through, like his legit Boston accent.
I heard it too.
I heard it.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not going to be happy until I, do all this stuff to her. And he's just sitting there. He's like, that's right, Wade. I'm going to do all this. Like, just awesome.
I say him saying like, ooh, girl, you say, or you keep going.
Oh, girl, you crazy. You crazy. You think I'm a shit talker, but this guy, next level.
I say I like the end credit scene. I will admit, I can't lie. This is just my Marvel heart. I was a little shocked they made this movie's end credit scene a joke. I truly thought it was going to be something of like a little bigger. I'm fine with it. Don't get me wrong. It was funny as heck, but a little bit inside me was like, I kind of thought you'd maybe like show something. I don't know.
I'm on the opposite side. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they don't usually do like the joke final credit scene in a Marvel movie, so I actually thought that was kind of refreshing. And I think when you lay it all out, the amount of post-credit scenes that they've done that haven't paid off to anything, I was like, all right, I'll take a joke one for once. That there's no promise that could be broken. So
I agree with Sully here on this one, because when you think about like the Deadpool movies as a whole, that first Deadpool movie was so great because it was so contained in and of itself, and it wasn't at all concerned about setting up this gigantic world around it. This is as Deadpool of a movie as you can get, Deadpool and Wolverine. So I'm okay with the post-credits being a joke.
Again, it was like literally deep down the heart. Like I was like, as like watching, I was like, that was funny. That was a perfect like little cap off of the movie. But deep down, I was like, just a little shocked, just a little bit, because of the whole like Kevin Feige saying like this movie is very important for the Marvel universe. I was like, okay, so this movie's going to be heavy, like setting up something. And so I do have a few little things toward the end that I'm like, okay, so like, yeah, but either way, no, I agree. The end credit scene is funny, especially when he turns around, he's like, "Gotcha, fucker," and he smacks him.
I can't believe Jacob hates this movie. That's crazy.
Oh my god, dude! I had a comment. Someone was like, "A B+." I'm like, dude, I saw the movie 3 times.
It's fine. I gave it even lower than you did, but I still really enjoyed it.
I did too. So,
wow,
no worries.
Am I just a Marvel fanboy for giving it my perfect A+ right now?
Hey, if it works for you, it works for you.
Yeah, literally.
Lord. My favorite movie of the year so far has been Dune 2. And then another thing about choosing my favorite movie of the year, like when push comes to shove, which movie, like if I were forced to pick, would I want to rewatch again and again and again? So far, it's been this one. Like no questions asked. Like, is it a perfect movie by Jacob standards or Sully standards or Zack standards? No, probably not. But you know what? It's a damn fun time. No, absolutely not. Unless it's 12 Angry Men or Alien or Forrest Gump or any of those.
Or Sully says
movies.
Blade Runner.
Yeah.
that's not my number one ever, but that is the original Blade Runner, yes.
That's up there. That's up there. 2049 is better, I think. But anyway,
I'm leaving. I'm out.
He's out. So this Deadpool and Wolverine suddenly turns into somewhat of a road trip movie, and it kind of harkens back to what Logan was as a road trip movie as well. Nice little tribute there, if I think about it that way. Then they come across Dogpool, literally like the winner of the world's ugliest dog competition a couple years back.
So
and
mean.
I know, right? Yeah, this is
It
a sweet little thing. Yeah. No, I actually did my research. Yeah, there's actually a legit contest for that. And this dog is just all over Ryan Reynolds, like actually Deadpool Prime, rather, as he calls himself, because you see Nice Pool. Ryan Reynolds also playing. He's got the freaking like Last Samurai hairdo coming on, and like he runs in and he's like, "Sorry about that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." Yeah, it's freaking Nice Pool, man. And the reason why they're going on this journey is because they're finding this group of survivors that was mentioned early on, survivors in the void. And we don't know who these people were. We didn't know what they were planning to do, what their whole motivation was. We just knew that there are others out there that are like Deadpool and Wolverine. And the thoughts kind of started circling. I was like, who is going to be in this group? You know, and Zach, I don't know if you had that thought in your head, but it was like, are we going to see more cameos?
So I gotta say that I got 2 of these cameos spoiled for me before I saw the movie by Marvel themselves, because they posted their Comic-Con thing when they had Wesley Snipes, Chris Evans on stage. I clicked off of it, so I didn't see the rest of the cast. So I didn't get spoiled by everybody else, but I did see those. I saw those 2 names. I was like, what? And I clicked off. I was on the train on the way to the movie. I was so mad.
Yeah.
So I knew Blade was in the group because I was like, okay, Chris Evans is here. He's dead. So I was like, Blade's gonna be here, but I don't know who the rest of these characters could or will be. Oh, actually, and I was like, probably X-23 because she was in the trailer.
Yeah,
but I was still excited to see who else they could pull in.
Yeah, and the journey itself to get to the survivors, I thought, was also very entertaining. Wolverine also asking Deadpool if he was checked for ADHD, and that response is, as to put it nicely, it's as ADHD as it can get. I know from experience. We also have the ultimate fight in the Honda Odyssey. And Sully, this honestly felt to me like it was some sort of deranged, I don't want to say it's another sort of like sex scene in a way, but it was almost shot like a sex scene. And the dialogue felt very suggestive, like it could be a sex scene out of context, but that was so entertaining, wasn't it?
Well, I do want to say right before that fight scene hits, Hugh Jackman does which is so funny because it's in this movie. He does an absolute puts on a clinic of dramatic acting in that monologue he has about
stole my words.
Joke. Dude, that scene is unbelievable. And they played it so well with the instant comedy and then into a joke after that. I think there's a couple situations that it could have gone where they didn't give it enough time to breathe. I think that they actually did give it the perfect amount of time to kind of settle in what he's saying. And finally, someone, even though Cable does it a little bit in the second Deadpool movie, but someone's actually checking him on his bullshit a little bit. And it led into a great, I love those kind of close quarters, enclosed space fight scenes like that when they're done really well. I mean, they didn't have much room to manipulate the space and everything. And I'm sure filming that must have been a pain in the ass. But that with another great needle drop and kind of going to the music. And honestly, I love that ending shot before they get taken back to the kind of reject team of Wolverine being passed out unconscious and Deadpool being completely wrapped up in the seatbelts was unbelievable.
The only way to stop him was to tie him up.
He has no off switch.
A seatbelt mummy, that's for sure. But again, this scene, to your point, Sully, the soundtrack and the pin drops were awesome. First of all, bashing Deadpool's head into the thing, and you hear "This is the greatest show." You hear "A Million Dreams," both, and then the fight scene is played to "You're the One That I Want" from Grease. As a theater kid, this made me very happy. Even though, Jacob, I'm not the biggest fan of Grease, this was a lot of fun.
I can't lie. Because I did see the soundtrack listing before the movie came out, and I saw Greatest Showman. I was like, oh my God, that's so great. I can't lie. I kind of wish the fight they were doing was playing The Greatest Showman. I can't lie. I feel like it would have been funny. The Grease was funny as well, but I agree with Sully. As a person that makes short films and close quarters stuff like that, and they did an entire fight scene in a car with two men and they beat the shit out of each other. And I'm like, dude,
two big dudes.
Sean Levy did a really, like, I saw an interview with him. He said he wanted every action scene to feel so different. And when he said that, I was like, that's so true. Cause like you had like the beginning fight with them, like the one that Ryan Reynolds says, get your special socks ready. It's going to get good. Like that was perfect for an opening fight. And then to get in a minivan, like I love that. Like when you go see a big summer movie, you do not expect to see Wolverine and Deadpool fight in a car. Like that's just so cool that they did that. And
I agree.
Yeah.
That's my favorite scene of the movie.
Oh yeah. The fight in the Honda Odyssey.
From the monologue into the like, I'm going to punch you now. Like the way he said it into himself is so sullen. It was like you actually hurt his feelings when the part that really hurt his feelings is when you said you can't even do your relationship with a stripper. It was like, whoa, you talking shit about my girl? I think that was where it was like, I'm gonna have to try to kill you even though I know I can't.
Yeah, that's where he really hit a nerve.
I'll say, dude, when Wolverine bangs on the ceiling, he's like, and God made it to where you can't die and all of us can. I was like, dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like he said it was like God's biggest joke that you can't die, but the joke's on all of us, basically. And I'm like, that is some fighting words, seriously.
Yeah.
Made me so happy to see a freaking awesome performance from Hugh Jackman again. Just one of my favorite actors, legitimately. So to Zach's point from earlier, they eventually do come across the survivors. One of the survivors was driving that Honda Odyssey, which again, it feels like a big commercial for Honda cars now. The survivors are as follows, gentlemen. Elektra, played by Jennifer Garner, not doing gymnastics anymore, even though she's much older. Blade, played by Wesley Snipes, which got a huge ovation in my theater on that opening night. X-23, of course, which shouldn't be a surprise because she was at the premiere. Daphne Keane, a lot older Daphne Keane. She's not a kid anymore. And the big surprise was Gambit, played by Channing Tatum, who never got a movie of his own. Sully, there was a joke that he put in, like, I think I was born here. I was born in the void. I've never seen
that scene alone, I think, had the two best laughs out of the whole film for me, where it was the Gambit related one was when Deadpool says, sorry, who is your dialect coach? The Minions.
Yes.
I thought that was a fantastic joke. And then going back to Elektra, because of the off-screen stuff that made it so good, I loved when they told him that Daredevil died. And he was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Daredevil." And she was like, "It's fine. Don't worry about it." Because of the Ben Affleck stuff. So I was like, that is such a good joke.
Freaking
cold. And like you said, my theater too, the applause was by far the most for when Wesley Snipes came out as Blade.
Yeah, was not expecting that whatsoever. Like, I had heard rumblings that Elektra was going to be in this. Like, it was kind of spoiled for me in some sort of article. That was the only one, though. I was like, oh, how are they going to incorporate her? And I had a feeling that we were going to see X-23 in this again, but Blade, Gambit, forget about it. I had no freaking idea. And Wesley
definitely wasn't expecting Gambit.
At all. That was the biggest surprise of the movie.
Yeah. And that voice by Channing Tatum and the passion he was putting into it. Good Lord. He was so good. Yeah. So damn good. I want to go to a casino where Gambit's dealing the deck in Texas Hold'em.
I will admit too, that scene had some of the biggest laughs too. I say when Deadpool says, "I'm sorry, I haven't seen Sling Blade in a while. Can you repeat that?"
Or when he almost called Elektra Wonder Woman, he said Wonder. So okay, yeah, we know who you are.
And dude,
how could we forget?
I can't another thing that I'll be honest, and it honestly took my breath away because it's R-rated. There's blood. There's all this stuff. No one could have told me, and I would have believed it. I could not believe they said the R slur right then with Blade. I was like, what? And my theater busted out laughing when he said that.
Retired.
I said retired. And then he said,
we said that one.
And dude, my theater, my friend, like my good friend who's with me, he was like a Marvel fan. He was literally crying because when he said that. And then my special lady friend, she was like, who's the black guy? I'm like, oh my God.
It's Blade.
It's Blade.
Trying to break up with her.
It is the only Blade. It is the only Blade.
It is the only Blade.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, and the fact that, again, it's so amazing that we see Ryan Reynolds and Wesley Snipes in a good movie together. Because I don't know if any of you remember Blade Trinity or not. Because I do. I remember watching that.
Trinity slander.
I'm sorry.
Blade is a perfect trilogy. Don't you?
It is.
I'm joking.
Man.
I'm joking.
Okay.
Trinity is not good.
I was like, sarcasm much? Yeah, no, I remember watching that, like, when I was a little bit younger, because it was like, oh, hey, Triple H is in it. I want to watch this, So then he's beating up Ryan Reynolds for a while, and I'm thinking, like, man, the places those two are at in their lives now. But the fact that these two were feuding on set of Trinity, Reynolds and Snipes, and now they're working together, it's never thought I would see it. And
he
Blade
even says it to him. He even says, he's like, I never liked you. He's like, oh, I know. And like, that was a little, that was,
I think since we know the off-screen story behind that and that they didn't like each other, actually provided even better cover for me thinking that there was no way Wesley Snipes was in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, assuming that bad blood was still there, I was like, there's no way he's going to be reprising his role in this. So that made it even better of a surprise.
Yeah. And Sully, it's even more interesting when they're driving towards Cassandra Nova's Ant-Man domain, which we forgot to mention earlier. Yeah, it's a big, gigantic Ant-Man skeleton that Cassandra's living in. The fact that they're driving up and pan up to Blade and he has a rocket launcher and he claims that he is the only Blade. And Ryan Reynolds looks to the camera and he's like, was that a direct shot at Feige? Was that like kind of a pulling his leg, like, hey, I'm calling you out, make Blade?
I think it had to be, in the sense that, the same way that I was commending the movie earlier for somehow finding a way to be so topical at its release date, because those jokes, who knows if, like, again, that joke might not hit next year, once we know more about the Blade project or what's going on. I freaked out. And I can't believe that it was 5 years ago now. I freaked out 5 years ago when they announced Mahershala Ali as the next Blade.
I remember. I did too.
I think he's a fantastic actor. I would absolutely love to see that movie. That being said, with how much turmoil and seems like there's so much complication in getting that movie off the ground, just give Chad Stahelski a blank check. Let him do one more movie with Wesley Snipes.
Yes.
Let's see what happens, is what I think. And then after Secret Wars, because it's clearly not working, bring in Blade when all the mutants are brought in. So that's what I think.
I saw on Twitter,
Jordan Peele, the Blade movie.
I would take Jordan Peele, definitely.
I saw on Twitter people want a Logan style version of Wesley Snipes' Blade. I would love that.
Man,
I mean, I think people didn't know how much they missed Wesley Snipes' Blade, and then everyone's all pumped up. But if they were really smart about it, they should announce it now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, they got to get on that. Feige, get on that.
They probably won't because I really feel like they're trying to close Fox. Like, I feel like they're really trying to close it. So, but I would love to see a Logan version of Snipe or Wesley Snipes. Yeah,
Blade.
I do think
Blade.
though that it, like you said, it's probably not going to happen too, in the sense that giving us a Wesley Snipes Blade project after all this time, or after this movie comes out, I don't think that they know that greenlighting that would be admitting yeah, we're having insane troubles with this new Blade film. They don't probably want us to know that there's an absolute shitstorm going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see a solo movie for Blade again. I'd love to see a solo movie for Gambit because he never got it. And I know Channing Tatum wants it. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but
I highly doubt it.
I don't think so. Yeah.
No.
I think the best thing they could do is bring Wesley Snipes, have the Blade movie have a multiverse aspect to it, and he has to talk to Wesley Snipes' Blade and have a heart-to-heart to help. Whatever situation he's going through.
Could you imagine if Mahershala Ali's Blade started off in the void?
Oh, that would have been super meta.
Okay, so
very meta.
The idea of that, don't get me wrong, it would be really cool to have Wesley Snipes in the Blade movie and basically hand it off to him. But for me, especially as a horror guy, I really feel like they could do an awesome Blade movie today. And Mahershala Ali is perfect as Blade. At least I think he will be. So I don't know. A part of me is I would totally be down for Wesley Snipes to come back for a Blade movie. But then again, I'm what they could do for a solo Blade movie, that would be cool. And I mean, they already kind of introduced him in Eternals, technically, because he was in the end credit scene. So I don't know, man. Either way, if they announce tomorrow we're doing a solo Wesley Snipes Blade movie like Logan, it'd probably be one
I'm
of my
down.
most anticipated, honestly.
I'm so down for that. And the action sequences that we get are freaking awesome with him. X-23 taking down this year's Juggernaut in the domain was awesome as well. Except they cut away from her like slicing and dicing his head off, which it was so annoying watching it again. I was like, you couldn't have given me more brutality there. Like, I get it, like slicing at his ankles. Yeah, that's demented and sick, but like, man, R-rated, go for it, man. A little kid dicing up Juggernaut. That would make her even more of a badass than she already was.
I feel so dumb, but I forget the song they pull up to, but it was perfect. What was the name of the song?
I'll Be Seeing You? Oh, no.
Bring them out.
Bring them
out.
The T.I. song.
Yeah. Also, speaking of music, and I just got to say this, I don't know who did the score for the movie. Okay, so not like the actual music, the score, the one with like it's the dubstep and it sounds like a cat. It's like meow and it drops, whatever.
Yes, that was a great track.
Okay, I wasn't a fan. I wasn't.
Oh no!
But I don't like dubstep. I don't like dubstep. So like that, it took me out.
And the entrance, like when Wesley Snipes walks in and the rest of the crew walks in, I thought that was a good score moment.
Yeah, for that moment, yes. But like that moment, but like the actual because I like listening to musical scores for like movies. That solo, as like listening in my car, I was like, I can't get into it. But in the moment, yes.
Yeah, just really, really good action overall. Good performances from Cassandra Nova, who is just continuously evil, even with the Juggernaut helmet on. But then she pulls out the Doctor Strange ring, opens up a portal, and Deadpool and Wolverine end up back in their universe at 10,005. They destroy the Kia on the way in. And then they encounter all of these freaking Deadpool variants. Holy cow. And Nice Pool warned them. He warned them about this. Lady Pool comes out, and she is, in fact, played by Blake Lively. And you see all these freaking, like, variants come through. And funny thing, I was watching the credits, and Cowboy Deadpool, Matthew McConaughey. I'm like, they're pulling out all the big guns here. What is going on here? But, it was just... Zach, what was rolling through your mind when you saw Nice Pool being dragged across? And hey, vibranium shield, forget about it. You have Nice Pool now.
I have a bittersweet feelings about this scene because I thought that the interactions between Deadpool and Nice Pool and Dogpool and all that, and he used him as a shield and realizing he doesn't have any powers, all brilliant. I thought that was really, really funny and really it paid off. Nice Pool showing up, them talking about the guns. I was like, he's gonna get those guns. I knew it.
Yeah.
But I do think that the Deadpool core ended up being disappointing for me. Especially like you say, it's Matthew McConaughey, it's Blake. We didn't see their faces. I don't recognize their voices. And the fight kind of happened so fast after he's building them up to be this force, and Wolverine and Deadpool kind of just rips right through them. So it was cool. It was a cool scene, especially Wolverine putting on the
the cow,
putting on the costume. I think I got that 107th bone when I saw that scene.
And Sully, Sully, I'll direct this next question to you because I know you got to hit the road pretty soon. But like seeing Wolverine don the cowl, like take me through your thought process. This whole scene.
Well, I think me, like everybody else, like I really wanted to see what this would look like in live action, but also kind of worried because it is one of the more ridiculous comic suit pieces that they could possibly put on screen. Because the two like swoops that go into his eyes are just so ridiculous, and we've seen so many iterations of that in the comics. Of sometimes they're short, sometimes they're way too long. I think they did it really well. And going back to the score for a second, right before that fight starts, when he actually pulls the hood over, there's a great like musical crescendo that really makes it feel epic. And something that we've waited for. I mean, he started playing the character 24 years ago, so something we waited for a long time. I think for the most part, it looked pretty good in live action. I mean, there are obviously a couple times in that single shot fight scene where stuff looked a little janky, but the whole scene as a whole is just so fun that you kind of just go with it. Like when it looks like it's pulled right out of a comic book frame when they both jump out of the back of the bus, like out of the glass, and they're both kind of like shot there for like 10 seconds. The only thing, and like I said, I can forgive it because the whole sequence was so like fan service and entertainment heavy that I can kind of turn a blind eye. When Hugh Jackman lands out of that, when he jumps out of the back of the truck or whatever, he's like it's like a fully CGI Hugh Jackman, like his full body.
Yes.
And it's like, someone said it on Twitter the best way. Like I wanted to say this, but I couldn't have come up with the words. Someone said that like for 10 seconds, Hugh Jackman as a CGI Wolverine is standing there, and it's almost like he's like idling for 10 seconds as like a Mortal Kombat character.
Yeah.
Like he's just like looking around, like waiting until Deadpool finishes saying his like joke and then puts his swords away. And I do think that was true. I think it's possible to acknowledge that wasn't great, but also realize that I didn't really care because the scene was so entertaining. But it's definitely with so many moving parts and variables like that, there's going to be a little jank to come with it.
Yeah, yes. Amen to that. And like we talked about a lot tonight, Sully, the soundtrack coming into play again. There's Madonna. There's Madonna coming in, and no better time to put it in. But Sully, let everybody know where they can find you.
I'm easy, man. Sully streams on pretty much every social media platform you can imagine. It's kind of a funny story. I had to, one of the platforms, I can't remember, it wasn't YouTube or Instagram. I had to beg a kid that didn't use his account but already had Sully streams. I was like, DMing him all the time. I'm like, please, like, do I have to pay you? What's gonna happen? And he never responded. I was like, okay, this isn't happening. Like last ditch effort, like a year later, I was like, can I have this, please? And he was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And I got it. So now it's a full uniform. Sully streams across all platforms. I think I'm most active on YouTube, and I'm definitely obsessed with Letterboxd these days. So that's pretty much where you can find me now. Yeah.
All right. Well, Sully,
he hit 4K recently. Woo!
Hell yeah!
I did. Thank you. Yeah.
Keep this man climbing. He is awesome. Go subscribe to him. I've left a link to his channel in the description box. Thank you for taking time with us tonight.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Zach. I'll talk to you boys later.
Talk to you later, man. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy. You can expect him back on this channel very, very soon. But I'm seeing all these comments coming in. You guys are killing it in the comments. Hit that like button and that subscribe button if you haven't already. What the heck are you doing if you haven't done that yet? Jacoby,
yes.
I know this was one of your favorite jokes, Zach. It had to be. I can do that too. I can do that too. The proposal.
The whole bitch. That's what you think I do? I busted out laughing so hard. He sounded so offended. He's like, do you think that's what I do?
Get it.
Oh my god! But the proposal thing was great.
Yeah, and him like dragging Deadpool across the way just to like have him as a shield was so funny. And he's like, "It's because I'm paralyzed." Yeah, we all have problems. Listen, you are gonna live. And then, of course,
I was wondering, I was like, when is that gonna happen? I know somebody's gonna blow his head off.
Yeah.
Goodness me. Yeah.
When he's banging on his body and the blood hits his face, like, oh, I could taste his last thoughts.
He died a hero. He died for murder, you dumb fuck. And just the fact that Hugh Jackman, again, just so great the whole way through, and the fact that he is the straight man in this buddy cop duo, so to speak. He just carries the dog across the way, and the Deadpools don't do anything.
Cute puppy.
But I love that he's still funny. Like, he's a straight man, but he's still really funny throughout the film in his own way.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And the fact that, like, Deadpool goes into this whole monologue about how let's take the L and move on. What were your thoughts during this whole monologue, Jacob? Like, do you think the MCU has been steadily great since Endgame?
Okay, so it's funny because when you look at Phase 4 and you look at Phase 5 and you look at after Endgame, you gotta admit the quality has gone downhill. I believe, at least for me. Has there been some hits? Guardians 3, but No Way Home, Wakanda Forever, which everyone seems to forget. Wakanda Forever is good. I don't understand what everyone hates. Shang-Chi.
Forget that too.
But I do admit I like that Deadpool was like, listen, we suck. We can't do it anymore. The Wizard of Oz did it right. The gays told us like it's like it was like to me like I'm totally fine them just being like, hey, multiverse didn't work. Maybe we'll revisit one day, but I think Deadpool said it best, man. He's like, hey, it didn't work. We'll move on. We have stuff coming up, so don't worry. But yeah, the whole monologue was great. And I have to ask, Zach.
Yeah. Which one?
I gotta ask. So you are a person who has a seems lovely girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has she seen Deadpool? Has she seen Deadpool?
No, she is not. And actually, I'm trying to get her to watch it, but she like it's so the thing with Lindsay is like she can't really do blood all that much.
Okay.
So I would have to basically like, say, hey, this is where a bloody part's coming up. So just keep your eyes closed. So
okay. So the question I was gonna ask, since she hasn't seen it yet, I was gonna say, were you or her disappointed it wasn't Taylor Swift? Because there were so many rumors.
Oh man, like I had heard rumors that Taylor Swift was supposed to be Dazzler, and I know that her and Blake Lively are really tight in real life, which in turn makes her and Ryan Reynolds really tight as well. I think Taylor Swift is like Blake Lively's kid's godmother or something. Or it's the other way around. I can't.
Yeah, she babysits their kids.
But,
yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at this rate, we're going to be seeing Travis Kelce in a Deadpool movie at some point after he retires from football. So
I'll say, in the moment, I was like, I can't lie. I was like, all right, is it Blake or is it Taylor? Is it Blake or is it Taylor?
It was Blake. Like Taylor was too busy doing the tour. So
it was Blake. But I thought the whole scene was good. I will admit, and this is just me again, putting on those critiquing glasses. I think after the battle in the void, and then this right after, and then another big scene, to me, the pacing fell off. I was like, all right, this is the ending. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, this is the ending. And Deadpool even says to the screen, all right, this is the final stretch, everybody. So, like, I have to admit, the scene was fun, funny. But I was like, oh, so the void's not the final battle? Okay, is this no, it's not either. Okay, I will admit, the scene was fun, but I agree with Sully. When Wolverine jumps out of that bus, my friend literally says, dude, he looks like a loading screen character waiting to get chosen. He's sitting there doing this.
Yeah.
He's doing this.
He looks like a loading screen for the Insomniac Wolverine that's coming out next year. Like, good Lord.
Like, this is the costume you can pick.
Like, give me that game as soon as humanly possible.
Yes.
So this whole ending sequence where they have to basically link up like these big gigantic gadgets to stop Cassandra from using that machine to wipe out 10,005. The whole exchange between them was so heartfelt and so touching, Zach. Like, Ryan Reynolds had tears in his eyes and he was like, I couldn't wait for this team up. And you could tell that he was proud of it. You could tell that the fans, like, he thought the fans would love it. It hit me right in the feels. And I thought, like, wait, is this actually Hugh Jackman's last performance as Wolverine? Like, is this it for him? Like, because if he said he's retired in 2017, I was like, I believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. And he never show up as Wolverine again. So what a fool I was 7 years ago. Because this movie was so much fun, guys. It really was.
Yeah.
But
did you think Deadpool was gonna die?
No. I didn't buy it. Yeah, because as soon as they linked up and like Wolverine like became a preening slut and like his shirt was just ripped open, his LA Rams colors on the jersey came off. Like, not the jersey. What am I saying? But yeah, and he's all ripped and Deadpool's looking at him like, yeah, he approves. He approves. The man who I'm sure is very, very fluid. So
I love the music drop when the TVA guy is like, they were heroes and they died heroically, and then you hear Deadpool saying, not quite yet. And he's like, fuck, and then and I don't wanna. Yeah, it was. I was like, that's so good.
That felt like a very like 2002 soundtrack move. Like like the end of I know it wasn't like Chad Kroger or anything. I know it wasn't Nickelback, but like if you put Nickelback at a higher pitch, that's what this sounded like. I don't know who it was, but that's what it sounded like to me. So, yeah, the movie ends. It's happy. Wolverine and Daphne Keane is there in the room with Deadpool and all of his friends. They're sitting around a table eating pizza, not chimichangas. The fact that it ends like on Wolverine's cowl and Deadpool's mask, and it's a Marvel movie again, Zach. It's so freaking surreal that we're even talking about this, and the possibilities are so wide open.
It feels like something that was not going to happen at all, and we sat there and watched 2 hours of it. Just the Wolverine cowl is just because they've been so against the yellow and blue suit, yellow and brown suit, covering up Hugh Jackman's beautiful face. That the fact that it ends showing that cowl was touching for me.
Yeah, it was so awesome, Jacob. I know this ending had to have hit you in the feels right here. I know it had to.
So it did, because my mindset going into the movie, me personally, I thought, this is going to be Hugh Jackman's now last time as Wolverine. Because I was like, all right, they're not going to bring him back, right? So for it to end with both of them alive, both of them in the universe, I'm like, holy crap, like, we're going to get more Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, like, confirmed. And then recently, I don't know if you guys have seen the post, and I know we're all thinking it, but Ryan Reynolds was like, so when you coming back? He's like, I have no idea. He's like, this could have been the last time as Deadpool. Like, I have no idea. Now, truly, I think we all know he's probably lying, and they probably are like, hey, you're going to be in like Secret Wars and Doomsday and all that kind of stuff. And then I heard a rumor once that like people really want like a new face of the new phase of Marvel. I would be totally fine with Deadpool being the front and center.
I'm down with that too. I'm down with that too, because again, like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, I know we talked a lot about like bringing in fresh blood, like a Edgerton or a Radcliffe to play Wolverine, but like with Deadpool, like there's no way you can recast that at all. Ryan Reynolds is Wade Wilson, like just in his demeanor, how he carries himself. That's a like over accentuated version of himself, I feel like, and I think that's where you get the best performances out of it. So I'm totally down with seeing Deadpool and Wolverine again in another movie. I'm down if we get World War Hulk, which I hear is rumored. I'd love to see Hugh Jackman pop up there. I would love that.
Great.
So we could actually get like bloodshed and an actual fight between those guys. That would be so much fun. I don't know if it'll be as fun as Harrison Ford CGI Red Hulk in Brave New World next year, but again, we'll see what happens. But there's one other question that I wanted to bring up to you, gentlemen, before we wrapped up in regards to what's next and the ideas in the universe. We were talking a lot about the anchor beings. This is a loaded question here. I'm going to ask each of you, who do you guys think is the MCU's anchor being? Do we have any theories in the room?
I feel like it helps with YouTube because a lot of people have already done predictions. I think it really does make sense for it to be Spider-Man, but I think it's too obvious. So I don't think it's Scarlet Witch. I've heard that. I don't think it's Scarlet Witch.
No.
I mean, Iron Man would have been the answer. I feel like, right? Like that would have been the answer.
Totally.
Maybe Thor? Maybe?
Strong maybe, I think.
I don't know. Maybe Loki? Maybe it's Loki this whole time?
Yeah. Zach, I'm seeing a lot of predictions in the comments here. Like Leo thinks it's Wanda, contrary to what Jacob was saying. Jovan suggested Ant-Man, which would be an interesting outside the box choice, but I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think
better be Catherine.
Ant-Man. Yeah. Yeah, Cassie Lang. Cassie Lang is actually the anchor being in Jacob's mind. Dark Room Reviews, he did mention Loki. I personally don't think it's Loki because like season 1 and season 2 of that show, like as a whole, that was such a great redemption story for Tom Hiddleston. And where he's stationed right now as the brand new He Who Remains, I think that's totally fine. I think that's enough development for him. I think that's a perfect spot for him.
I also think that because he's not in our universe anymore, that would be a problem if he was the anchor being. Like, I think the anchor being has to be in the universe. He's outside of it for so long. I do think the anchor being is probably dead already. I really think the anchor being is Tony Stark.
Yeah,
I think
the end game is affecting the rest of the universe because it takes 1,000 years for it to happen. So we haven't even gone that far since Endgame.
That's a good thought.
So he could definitely have been the one that died, and that ties into Doom being a Tony Stark variant now. He comes into the universe and he holds 616 together because he is a variant of him. Just like he was trying to bring a Wolverine variant over to the 1005. That's how you tie all this stuff together and make it make sense. I don't like the anchor being concept. I think it's really silly that one person on one of these planets in this universe is the anchor being, and then if they die, I'm in Mars, and then I just don't exist anymore because this idiot got himself run over by a car.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, but if they do it right, I'll be down. If it's Tony Stark and then they tie it into Doom looking like Tony and he's a variant, I think all that could be very powerful storytelling.
Tony Stark, I feel like, is the most obvious choice out of like all the characters we've had. He was the guy who started everything. But I feel like you also, if you make it Tony Stark, there's a bit of a missed opportunity with Doomsday and with Secret Wars because it also takes out the whole storyline of the Avengers coming together to protect the anchor being, which is why I think it could be very likely that it could be Tom Holland, Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Because think about it, like No Way Home comes around, nobody knows who Spider-Man is. So you also have that added layer of the mystery. Like, we know who Spider-Man is, but the Avengers have to go through this mystery of like, okay, who is this Peter Parker? Who is Spider-Man? So maybe they find the.
Or if they only get the Peter Parker name, but don't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, so he's just swinging around as Spider-Man. He's like literally right there next to them.
Yeah. So then they have to literally protect this kid from the Tony Stark doppelganger now, as it was confirmed last week. I think that could be a fun storyline. I heard Doctor Strange be a prediction as well, because he was the guy who had the whole idea of looking ahead in time during Infinity War and seeing all the possible outcomes. So the all-knowing being is the anchor being. And I think maybe people are reading too much into this, but when Cumberbatch a couple of years ago got his star on the Walk of Fame, when Kevin Feige was making his speech, he was like, "You are the anchor of the MCU. You are a true anchor." Ooh. And I'm like, like that may be,
he did say that.
May be reading too much between the lines, So I think whoever they pick, I think it'll be a good choice. As long as Doomsday is a great movie, I'm okay with that. As long as Secret Wars is a great movie, which I'm sure it will be. Yeah. What's up, Jacob?
So like at this very moment, August 11th, if I had to make a bet, I would say right now, I do think it'd be Spider-Man.
Yeah, me too. I think it's going to be Tom Holland Spider-Man. And then coincidentally, in the other Spider-Man universes that were established, you also have Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield as those anchor beings. So then Secret Wars, Doomsday could end up being their farewell as like, in a sense. And then those universes go to shit and they go down and they go under.
It could be Doom going across these universes and killing Spider-Man.
Yeah, just killing all the Spider-Man variants. That would mean that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire don't have much to do in Doomsday, which I think is very unlikely.
That honestly would be a really cool story. Like imagine Robert Downey Jr., who is a variant of Tony Stark, as Doom, going around killing all the Spider-Men, and he gets to Tom Holland. See, like, okay, so I talked to Zack about how I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom. I still am not. But the one storyline that's making me like, ooh, is the moment when Tom Holland sees him. That's going to be like, oh shit moment. It's like, that's your guy and he's trying to kill you. So like him being the anchor, I can't lie. I hope they do that. Honestly, that's a good idea.
It's just that moment of like Tony. He's like, who the fuck is Tony? Or something like that. He gets that one F-bomb in the movie.
The one F-bomb.
The one that would be perfect.
Well, and I don't know how big of a moment that's going to be anyway, because Dr. Doom is known for being under a mask because he hates how deformed he looks. So
they're gonna show right down your face, dude. They're gonna do it. How long? I don't know, but they'll show his face.
He can have a scar, like they could do the white out eye. They can have a scar across his face, but still look like Tony, just a scarred up Tony.
Yeah. He did come out with a mask at Comic-Con.
Also, could it be Reed? Could it be Reed Richards?
It could be.
I've heard a lot of people. I've heard a lot of people say that Pedro Pascal could be the face of the new MCU, and they've already said that they're going to be in both Doomsday and Secret Wars.
But that doesn't work because Pedro Pascal's Mr. Fantastic is not part of the 616.
Not yet.
I don't know. Then
they're like in the 60s. I think the Fantastic Four is going to take place.
Yep.
They're going to be in a 60s universe that's separate. So they're in the multiverse. They're not in the 616.
Yeah.
So that's why it wouldn't work.
Marvel's first family. Like I was reading up that they could be in the quantum realm somewhere, but
yeah, they talked about that a while ago. They thought that Ant-Man was going to find them down there in Quantumania.
Remember when everybody was like theorizing in Quantumania? Oh, this is when we're going to get Reed Richards. This is when we're going to get him.
yeah.
No,
that movie matters now.
Nope. No,
not
anymore. I read somewhere that I read somewhere that Kang could be the anchor being as well, but I'm like, no, there's no way.
No.
Absolutely no shot. And honestly, if that does end up happening in 2 years and I circle back to this very podcast, I'm going to feel like a huge fool right now. But
I wouldn't mind them secretly bringing back Kang, but he's just not the main villain anymore. Like he's a part of what's going on.
I wouldn't either, but I can't lie. I kind of like how Loki made it to where like his time didn't happen. What happened in the finale? Like he didn't get the book or something. Like the young Kang didn't get the thing in the window.
The Kang still exists because there's multiple versions. It's just the one that we were fighting is gone, but the council's still around. But they're chasing him around and trying to lock him up. So there's still Kangs out. It's still a possibility for him to be a part of it, and he's just not the major villain anymore because of everything that happened with Jonathan Majors. But I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
But it has to be a hero. It can't be a villain. That's the anchor being. It has to be someone we really invested in and care about.
And to me, that it all points towards Spider-Man, honestly.
Yeah. Oh,
Zach, you are muted, my sir. Muted. You're muted.
I am very muted now.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah, I just had some weird technicals going on with my microphone, but
you're good.
No, it's not Darcy. It is not Darcy. You get out of there with that. It's not Happy.
And Maria Hill's dead.
Yeah, Maria Hill's already dead. Steve Rogers, maybe. Steve Rogers is a possibility.
Ooh, old man Rogers.
Yeah, no, because I was reading up that there could be a television series of Steve Rogers going through the multiverse, returning the Infinity Stones to their rightful spots. And then he turns into, President Biden at the end. But yeah, no, I mean, I think the possibilities for this multiverse saga, where it's going to go with Secret Wars, like, I'm so excited for where it's going. And Deadpool and Wolverine, I think, was a shot in the arm that this universe needed. I'm very happy that I saw it as many times as I did. I want to go watch it again. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. What more can I say? But yeah, I think that just about wraps it up. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you to Zach. Thank you to Jacob, of course. I'll start with Jacob. Where can we find you, my friend?
You can find me here on YouTube, just at Jacob Hubbard Reviews, where I do weekly new movie reviews. You can also find me on Twitter at Jacob_Hubby99, where I tweet things. Is it important stuff? No, but I tweet things.
Where you tweet things. Yeah. Should it be X things now? This is where
whatever.
This is
I'm calling it Twitter.
Yeah, no, me too. This is where this is the social media outlet for the mutants in the world. X, clearly. So, Zach, where can we find you, my friend?
You can find me at Zack Attack Reviews on YouTube and everywhere else. Zack Attack RVS. Apparently, my name is too long, so I had to shorten it to RVS everywhere else.
Oh yeah.
Aww.
So yeah, with that said, what a great freaking Spoiler City return this was, gentlemen. This was so much fun. I have left links to all of our guests, including Sully, Jacob, and Zach, down in the description box below. Go show them some love because they absolutely deserve it. If you haven't already, I don't know why you wouldn't be subscribed to this channel yet, but go ahead and do so, my friends. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. I'm going to be wrapping up my Alien series, building up to Romulus, which comes out this weekend. That should be very exciting as well. And then the end of the year coming in, I'm going to be moving into a new place. So you might be seeing a brand new and improved studio behind me. Nice. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be hectic, but boy, howdy, are we ready for it. So guys, Thank you again for tuning in. Commence that back talk. Talk to you guys soon. There we go.